Should be live.
I don't see anything yet. At least on the YouTube side. Oh, we're live. Okay.
Oh,
Three,
shit, I'm about
two,
to check.
one. This is Josh from BatYard Finest, bringing you the finest of Batman, Superman, and pop culture. We are going to discuss the adventures of Superman, Superman in Exile. I think it's like 1956 something. 1950s Superman. And we're doing the new Superman 2025 starring David Cornsweet or Corn Sweat. I'm not exactly sure. As always, I have my two co-hosts. We'll just go in order. If you want to introduce yourselves.
What's up, I'm Tony?
I'm Jerry. It's been a while. Glad to be back.
It's been a while. Yeah, I'm a little rusty for sure, but I'm glad we're here. We're doing this. I felt like, this new Superman movie was a must for us to do. I guess we're going into the BSBS section of the podcast. Do you guys have anything? I just had a question for you guys.
I got a few things. It's more of just shout outs to the celebrities who passed recently, but it's not much that I have.
Yeah, go for it. Take it away.
Ozzy Osbourne, he just passed last Friday from old age, and Hulk Hogan also just passed not too long after. And then there was I can't remember his name, and I feel so bad because I've literally been talking about him nonstop. But he's a Chicago jazz musician.
Oh,
he
Chuck Mangione?
Yeah, right? Him.
Mangione? Yeah, he's awesome. He's so good.
Yeah, it was a wild time. I was like,
that was.
Oh, rough. First was Ozzy, then it was Hulk Hogan, and then apparently in between both of them, somebody else had died, and I'm like, man, what's happening?
Yeah, honestly, it's like I'd rather hear like politicians dying than these people. It was like one after the other too. I was like, oh
yeah,
man,
there was no time in between.
Yeah,
because when I had heard about Ozzy, I was doing a pre-release event for Magic, and my buddy was me and my buddies were talking about it, and I was like, man, this is crazy because everybody knows Ozzy lived that hardcore rock and roll lifestyle with the drugs, the partying. He bit that bat's head off on stage, but none of that's what killed him. And I was just like, you bite the head off a couple bats, do some drugs. If that doesn't take you, let disease do it. And I was like, hey, he lived the life he wanted, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think anyone lived more of a life than him. He snorted lines of ants.
Where
he lived life to the fullest.
Or like fire ants or something weird like that. Or like the biting ants, I think. And we're just like regular ants, like the biting ones.
It's crazy. Regardless, like who just wakes up? I'm gonna go bite some ants.
Yeah, well, he's Ozzy, And I guess I heard when they threw like the dead bat on stage, he didn't know it was a real dead bat, and he bit into it, and then I guess he had to go to the hospital for like rabies shots or something.
I would hope and imagine so.
Yeah. So RIP to all these legends. It is kind of sad.
That's really all I have. I've been busy working. It's almost time for school to start back for us, so we're in crunch time.
No, I hear you.
I feel that.
I just want to say about Chuck Mangione. The first time I heard about him was Bruce Campbell like recommending him basically. So I was like, oh, I got to check him out. And it's like, now it's honestly like one of my daily listens. Maybe not daily, but pretty frequent. And then, he just passed recently. So I just wanted to give that little tidbit. I wanted to ask you guys, Tony, do you have anything before I have this? I have a question.
Yeah, I got a quick one. Well, we'll get into it a little bit more with Superman, but I've kind of been reinvigorated into reading comic books again. So I've been reading a lot of DC, and I've been reading the Absolute series in the Absolute universe, and there's a lot of cool news coming out about that, about how Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman are gonna have their first crossover later this year.
Oh, that's
So,
new.
that's cool.
That's like the new series now.
Yeah, it's the new one where it's like the alternate universe where everything's like all messed up, and like Batman is like poor and Wonder Woman grew up in hell. Like they're really good. They're really good series.
Is she like with Hades kind of thing, or
she was sent there? I forget the name of the person who raises her. She was sent there, and then someone raises her. And she's just raised down there. All of the Amazons are killed, but her. She's like the last remaining Amazon.
Oh, that's wild.
Basically,
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Is this the one universe where Superman lands in Metropolis instead of?
I don't remember where he lands, but he doesn't land in Smallville. Where we pick up, because I'm not like fully caught up. I'm going through like the intro arc of all of them.
Right.
He's in Brazil helping like these coal, like I don't know if it's coal, these miners that are being like exploited. And he's like basically helping them stage an uprising against like the evil company that's like killing them and making them like, and it's really cool because the company that runs it, instead of like Peacemaker being like one guy, it's just an army of quote unquote peacemakers, and it's just like a bunch of guys that are like dressed like Peacemaker, and that's like the army. It's sick as fuck. It's really cool.
Pretty cool. All right, yeah. I haven't even heard about this.
Oh, they're all good. All of them are so good. I started Martian Manhunter. That one's nuts.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how crazy his story is.
Oh, it's literally nuts. It's like it's hard to even follow at times.
Yeah. I haven't like kept up with like recent comics since like New 52, and I was like 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah, because I think the last I was keeping up with was the New 52 Rebirth, but I slowly started falling off comics again. I'm probably just gonna pick up like digital singles from like different issues I'm interested in, because it's like, let me go to the comic book store and like just pick up all these titles, and like I'll read them, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done with them. What do I do now?
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
I want to read the Rebirth one because like I know like the Watchmen characters show up, but then like I was going to read that, and then I haven't even read Watchmen yet, so I'm like, oh fuck, well I got to read Watchmen before I even read this. So I still have it, like I haven't read it yet, but it's on my shelf. I'm like reading way too many books, so like to start another one on top of that, I'm like, all right, I gotta like finish what I'm starting. But I've been reading like 30s Superman comics, I've been reading them just before I go to sleep because it's just like a one-off issue and it's like the perfect amount of time. I'm like, okay, I can read this, and I just go to bed. It's not like a big investment kind of thing, But they're really fun, and they've been like kind of inspiring me with like some of the artwork I've been doing. So like that's what I like having comic books, like the physical medium, because like sometimes there's a frame or like something I want to go back to or like use in like my own artwork. So like it's nice having that physical medium, because like sometimes if you're looking for like a specific comic book panel just like online on Google, like you're not going to find it, especially if it's like an older comic or something like that.
Yeah, because that's definitely a hard thing. Is time has definitely passed on. It's like, oh, everybody's switching to digital, which I understand. So you don't just build up to that collection and it's just sitting and getting old. But it's like,
that's true.
So it has its advantages and disadvantages, because I'm the same way. I'm like, I've got to. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say, Josh?
No, I was just agreeing with it. Like, it kind of builds up. Like, if you have all these comics, you're like, oh, I read it. What do I do with it?
Yeah, because I'm going to go through some of mine and be like, I know some I'm going to keep for a collector standpoint, some of the old ones that you just could never find again. But some of the new ones, I'm like, maybe I'll see if I can donate them to like a church or something. So, some young kids, give them something to read. Good.
Yeah, as long as it like is keep getting its use, like people are still reading it, like there's nothing wrong with that at all. Honestly, that's probably better than it's just collecting dust anyway. But yeah, I definitely get that. I'm very selective now with the comics I actually purchase. Like I used to have friends who would just like buy me comic books or like buy me collectibles. I'm like, stop! I gotta like for my birthdays and stuff. I'm like, please stop! I don't know what to do with this stuff anymore. Like it's
Yeah,
just building up. You know, I'm in my 30s now, so like when I move, this is such a nightmare to move all these.
it's more of a
fucking things.
hassle than it is in
Yeah.
a not of being appreciative because getting a
Right.
gift is nice, but I need stuff practically now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Unless it's like something really specific or like something really awesome, like, oh, this is great, you know, but like, you know, now my selection's getting like narrower and narrower with that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Not to sound like I'm complaining about gifts, but you know, they build up.
Yeah, we all understand.
Oh shit, my camera. All right. Well, while I situate this, I have a question for you guys. This is terrible. I hate this camera so much. Did you guys see the new Fantastic Four, by the way? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning to go next week. I've got one of my cousins getting ready to have a baby, so we're gonna have her gender reveal Saturday. So I said I'll just go next week. I got something more important.
That's awesome.
Then yeah, I want to see it too. I haven't seen it yet. I actually heard it was good, so I heard good things about it.
Yeah, I heard some people say they enjoyed it more than Superman. So I was like, well, I gotta see it now.
Right, because I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. So I'm like, oh, now I gotta watch this.
It's not better than Superman.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Okay. That's.
I don't know. It might be depending on how you feel about it.
But yeah, I feel like it depends on your taste and like
Yeah.
what you're kind of getting out of trying to get out of a superhero movie.
Yeah.
No, I feel that because I'm definitely one of those people. I'm like, I want to see it, but I know I've said it before. I'm still in that big superhero fatigue era.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say too much because I want to save it for Superman, but definitely I'm hoping for some breaths of fresh air because I can't take any more disappointment and lackluster.
Yeah, I get that. It depends on the movie. Like for my superhero fatigue, like if it's like so immersed in like the other franchises or the other movies, like you have to see this movie to understand this fucking movie. That's when I'm like, all right, I don't fucking care anymore. I don't care. Like I honestly just want them to be standalone movies now, and like maybe have like a few crossovers here and there, but be very selective about it. Like make the crossovers like big events that happen every like I don't know 3 to 4 to 5 years. You know, like a bigger thing instead of like all the time. Like with these fucking shows and Marvel shows and Marvel, it's just like too much.
Oh,
it just
God.
You get lost. You know.
Don't get me started on the Marvel shows.
Yeah, I gave up on those a long time ago.
But that was really all I had to share. So if you guys are ready, we can move on into the short.
All right, we're gonna move on to Superman in Exile, starring George Reeves, Noel Neal, and Jack Larson as Jimmy Olsen. I don't know what year this was. It's gonna bother me. Oh, it says 1952. Okay, that's way earlier than I thought. All right, so Jerry, I want you to take Superman in Exile. I think this is season 2.
So Superman in Exile starts off with a group of scientists experimenting with nuclear energy at the time. And the experiment had gotten out of control and they needed to move one of the nuclear rods into a resting position, but the radiation was too much for them to bear. So Superman comes in. He's asked, what's the situation, scientists, people, sirs? Excuse me. And then they're like, you got to move it from point A to point B if you don't die. And he's like, I'm Superman. I won't die. And so he moves it, but in doing so, he is supercharged in radiation and has to be in exile while the radiation works to dissipate from his system so he doesn't kill anybody with his nuclear radiation hands. And while all this is happening, Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen are being approached by a real sleazeball slime dude who's like, I got some crown jewels for sale. You know, you want to see my crown jewels? And Jimmy's like, dude, I'm at work. I don't want it. I know you're the snake oil salesman. I don't care nothing about what you're selling. Yeah. And then the news gets out that Superman has to be in exile because of radiation. And then the sleazeball crown jewel slime snake oil salesman meets up with 2 other slime balls and are like, hey, well, since Superman's out of commission and crime's going up, why don't we kidnap Lois Lane and take her away in a fancy plane? And they're like, you crazy bastard, I'm in. So they kidnap Lois Lane, put her on a plane. Superman gets a call from the doctor in the meantime saying, well, try all of these different remedies. They're not working, Doc. And then so Superman remembers what the doctor said about an alternative energy source. So he flies into a lightning storm, and the lightning strikes him several times to help dissipate his radioactive energies. And then what did he do? That he jerry rigs the tailplane, the tail of the plane. They have to do an emergency landing. The sheriff pulls up with his 6-shooter and is like, you're under arrest. Like, how did you know? Superman told me. He's outside. And so then Clark Kent shows up, and Lois Lane's like, it's real funny how you and Superman both, had to be on a sabbatical at the same time. And Superman Clark Kent was saying, oh, well, Superman had his things to do and I had my things to do. So, watch what you're saying to me, Suge, and let's go have a smoke and a pancake. And that was the episode.
Much. And then he says a pretty terrible dad joke. He's like, oh, of course you wonder. You're a pretty wonderful girl. And that's how it ends.
That was awful. I did.
It was so bad that it was great.
I hated it because that's something I could hear my dad saying like
exactly
30 years ago.
Dad joke. Yeah.
Just awful.
Speaking of dads, George Reeves just looks like someone's dad dressed up as Superman.
Yeah.
Which is, I love that, He's definitely like an older Superman. I don't know how old he is when the series started, but he looks like he's like in his mid-30s at least, like mid to late 30s.
Oh yeah, he's prime dad age.
Yeah. So, Tony, I don't know if you ever seen any George Reeves Superman anythings. So I want to know your opinion.
I like that. I mean, like, I love these serialized live action shows from like the era. Like, I've seen like Adam West Batman, but not like this serialized Superman. I will say he is a little jarring as Superman. Nothing against the guy, but like you see him and you're like, oh, this is Superman. He's just like looks like a guy. I don't know.
He does look like a guy. I think he fills out the suit well. Like, I like that he looks like a dad. It's like, you could just kind of picture your dad as Superman kind of thing,
I mean, yeah, you can't even expect anything different from that era of Superman anyway. So,
and he was like a really well trained actor. Like, he was in Gone with the Wind. Like, he's in like not a major role, but like that's a major motion picture, right? And he had like a good, like decent role in that. Which I have yet to finish. It's like one of those movies that I'm like, all right, I feel like I have to watch this, but it's really tough to watch. But we'll save that for another time. This serial has my favorite all-time Jimmy Olsen. Jack Larson is my favorite Jimmy Olsen. He's not really in this episode a lot, but he's great. He's the best. He's the Jimmy Olsen that inspired comic book writers to make their own Jimmy Olsen's Pal comic book series, like Superman's Pal, Jimmy Olsen. Mm-hmm. So like his popularity kind of like basically brought that comic book series to life, which I think is really cool. Like, it just shows like how great he was as a character and actor within the serial. Like, he's and I just like how the ensemble is like very strong in this show. Like you see Lois, you see Jimmy. It's like all about the core three, and Perry White. He's a big part of the show too. It's not just like it's Superman and he just does stuff. It's like kind of about all of the characters. Which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I did really enjoy you just said his name and I forgot it that quick. but the guy who played Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, Jack
because
Larson.
he, like, quite literally, I'm looking at him and I'm like, yeah, that's who I would pick for a Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
Like, if I was to cast it at that particular time. Because, he was, he was still not really wisecracking, but he was like, okay, what is it? What do you want? What do you need? Kind of deal. So he fit the era really good. But then also just how he carried himself as Jimmy. Sure, it was just like maybe I think like a minute or two he was on screen.
Yeah, he's not in this episode that much.
But it's like, yeah, you definitely leave a strong impression. Because the woman who played Lois, not that there was anything wrong with her acting, but it was like, okay, she's kind of forgettable to me.
I would agree.
But like I said, it's nothing against her acting capability. It was just like, oh, you see Jimmy Olsen, and you're like, yeah, that's Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, he takes the show. I mean, like, Noelle Neal is pretty good as Lois Lane. I mean, Jerry and I watched, was it Superman versus the Mole Man and the Mole Man? It's I don't know, Superman and the Mole Man, and that's like their first appearance of this Superman. It was like a whole feature film made with like 5 cents as their budget, and yeah, I mean it's like pretty decent, especially for the time and everything. But like they started out the show with a different Lois Lane. I think it was Phyllis Coates, and for some reason she left the show, and then they replaced her with Noelle Neal, who acted as Lois Lane prior to this in like the serials that came out with like Kirk Allen like in the 40s. So they're like, all right, we'll just hire her. She already played Lois Lane. And I honestly like Phyllis Coates, I think, more. No offense to Noelle Neal. She did a great job. She's just like very hokey. It's a hokey show. Yeah, it's a hokey show, but I liked Phyllis Coates and like what she did with the character. She seemed like a little bit more believable. Noah Neal is just like, it just hams it up,
No, seriously. Because I know for me, definitely after, George Reeves' Superman, the next person that really stood out was I got some crown jewels for sale. Like that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Because he's exactly what I would think of as a scammer back then. Like, he's overly dressed. He's trying to just sell something to the first person he sees. He's not taking no for an answer. He's got 2 other dudes he's working with. Like, it's just very, you definitely stick out like a sore thumb. You could never forget that face. He's got that real cheesy looking mustache.
Oh, yeah.
And his like teeth like shine through, like they're almost like they're polished, like his teeth, well, especially with the black and white, it's just like very distinct.
But yeah, this was a very not so much silly, but it's just silly watching it now because you see George Reeves and he's just freeze framed in the middle of the background lightning. And it's just hitting you. You see the radiation aura just kind of slowly dissipate from them. And I'm just like, oh my God.
I love all that. I love all the effects in this show. It just makes me smile.
I like the obvious set plane that they just like shake.
Yeah, that was obvious. Like, but I actually liked how when he interacted with the plane, like he grabbed the tail, like that looked decent, especially for that time. Like it looked,
believable.
Yeah, it looked good. I was like, oh, he actually interacted with the plane, and I love in this episode too. Like basically, they kidnap Lois Lane, and then Clark Kent's on the phone, I think as Superman. And they're like, oh, yeah, they hijacked the plane, and Lois, it was in a crowded airport, and it was like all this like big extravagant things that would like be great to see on film, but like obviously they didn't have the budget for that, so they just had to describe that part, on the phone. But like, which is fine.
I like, especially in that scene where Superman like tries to ignore it and read a book because he knows he's outside.
He's trying his best not to get involved, but he's like, gosh dang it, I gotta go. I gotta fly in this storm. So as an alternative energy source. My goodness.
I think it would have been like a little bit more interesting if the stakes were a little bit higher. Like if the bad guys were like, I don't know, like on Superman status, like of power abilities instead of just like some thugs, you know. Which I'm glad that at least something happened, but like they never had. I don't think they had any comic book villains in the show ever. It was
I'm
always
not
just
surprised,
thugs,
yeah.
and like that was it, you know.
Just
But
funny.
But I liked how like Superman like is not able to help. It's like, all right, he's gonna kill people if just in being in contact. And this was like the
Yeah.
atomic age, so it's very in theme of that, and like the atomic bomb and everything like was basically in the zeitgeist when this came out. And this was like the early 50s. And when did that happen? 45,
Hold on.
6, something like that.
Something like that, late 40s, mid late.
Yeah. So like it's like definitely like in the cultural.
Yeah, it's the bombs dropped 45.
45.
So it's still within, that 10-year period.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's very much in like the psyche of like everyday people. So it just makes it a little bit more interesting, like seeing like how people would have viewed it back then too. You kind of almost have to put your mindset and that just like to get more out of this show. But like I think it's fun. I like this episode, and I liked how serious George Reeves kind of like takes like Superman not being able to help. Like he's very good. He does not play the character like hokey. Like I feel like Noelle Neal does, which is fine. She does a great job. But like George Reeves like takes it so seriously, and he's like very believable as the character, you know. Even though he does look like someone's dad, but that's fine. It's part of the charm.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, the charm and the time for when this came out. Like, it's not a perfect time capsule because I'm watching this and I was like, boy, if I was a kid back then, this would be great. But watching this as a 30-something-year-old adult now, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because George Reeves looks like a Home Depot model in an ad. Like very serious, very stoic, like, I'm building a house right out of Home Depot. Which it's good. It's to the credit of his acting ability, but it's just I've seen so many other things now. It's like going back in time watching this, you can't help but just smile a little bit at it.
Yeah, it's definitely super charming. Just like everything about it, and the sets, and like the physical aspects, and him flying. At least like it's him actually flying. It's not a cartoon.
Yeah,
which is nice to see. And like not in this episode in particular, but like when he like interacts with like walls and stuff, and like he busts through a wall, that's always great. That's always super fun. He took those like stunts very seriously, which always gets a kick out of me. And like in this show, this is the last thing I want to mention. That has one of my favorite excuses for Clark Kent not being around. I don't know what episode it is, but Lois Lane goes up to him and is like, "Oh, where were you, Clark? Like, what were you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I was going out fishing. I was out fishing." I'm like, "Oh, of course, Clark was fishing." Like, I thought that was the best. I love that so much. And like, yeah, I guess no one would question you. Like, yeah, all right, you're out in the middle of the mountain, like wherever the fuck you would go fishing in Metropolis, you know.
Yeah,
I just found that excuse
at the nearest lake. That's what happened.
I just found that amazing, and I wish, I don't know, I almost want that in like new Superman stuff, just like these just like ridiculous excuses why he's not around. It's so funny. I find that shit
Hilarious.
So funny.
It is so funny, dude.
So Tony, what are your final thoughts on Superman in Exile?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I don't know. I thought this is my first time like experiencing the show, so I didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, it's from the era for sure. It wasn't my favorite, but I feel like I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely would give it a 7 as well. Like, it's super charming. Like the actors are like hokey, but like they play into, the themes of like what the show is supposed to be. You know, like they're exactly what the show needs to be. You know.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, I'm gonna give it like a solid like 6.5. It's not that it's bad. It's just I was just laughing more at some of the practical effects that they were using because yes, he's doing his best with what they did at the time. But I'm just looking at I'm like, oh my goodness, I could not keep a straight face if I was the camera person for all this because you see George Reeves just flying and he's juddering the adjustable. I'm very inexperienced with planes, but he's fumbling with the stuff. It's great. It's a really good show. Don't be fooled by my rating. It's just I got more laughs and I did enjoy it, and it's definitely closer to a 7 than a 6. But it's just it's so campy that it's great.
It's not even trying to be campy like the Batman Adam West show. Like that show is like way more in on the joke. This show is not in on the joke, which makes it funnier. It makes it better, So, I definitely agree with that. I definitely get a lot of laughs out of this show, which that's why it makes my the entertainment value like even higher when I watch it. All right, so we're gonna move on to the present of Superman 2025, starring David Cornsweet, Nicholas Hoult, Rachel Brosnahan. I'm probably saying that last name wrong, but directed by James Gunn. And I wanted Jerry to take over for the synopsis of this one.
I'm just pulling up the cast list really quick so I don't mess up people's names.
That's fair.
So just give me like 2 seconds.
All right, Tony, start singing.
Okay. All right, I'm good. So now we'll be talking about Superman 2025. I'm just going to call it James Gunn Superman.
Yeah,
because that'd be easier. So we're going to be getting into James Gunn Superman. This starts off, it gives us, brief introductions to Krypton's destroyed, Superman lands on Earth. So, it gives us just kind of time period stamps of what has happened, since Krypton's blown up and since Superman has came to Earth and whatnot. And then it cuts to Superman just crash landing in Antarctica and Krypto coming in, taking him to his Fortress of Solitude. And then also we see someone by the name of the Engineer who is looking for Superman in the Fortress of Solitude on the orders of Lex Luthor because he's in the middle of a heated battle with the Baravian Hammer, who is really just a disguise that Lex Luthor has perpetrated to further his evil agenda and his obsession with Superman, because that's what he is. He's an obsessive, crazy person. And as the movie continues and progresses, we see that Superman deals with a lot of somewhat insecurities on how people view him, and also just how Lois Lane views the relationship that they have. Stop that laptop. We also get to introduce to Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, who have the Justice Gang. And it's kind of it has to be the most memeable and joke name I have ever heard. But as things continue, they're like, well, why doesn't Superman join? And Nathan Fillion is like, I don't want him. And Hawkgirl's like, if he joins, he'd vote against him for the name. But they're literally in the Hall of Justice. It's in big, bold stone print. And then obviously things continue, and Lex Luthor is set up and framed. Superman saying like, oh, he's here to rule us, start this secret harem, spread his alien genetics. Like literally the biggest conspiracy theorist on the internet. Like, oh God. Kind of almost like Alex Jones, if you know who that is. That's what Lex Luthor reminded me of. He reminded me a lot of Alex Jones.
Okay.
And this Lex Luthor gets in with the Secretary of Defense. He's meeting with the White House saying, well, I've got a way to stop this alien threat, so put out a warrant for his arrest and I can make this problem disappear. And as soon as he does that, this dictator in Boravia that Lex Luthor's been working with for years and years, giving him guns and free high-tech weapons for cents and pennies on the dollar, starts the invasion of another neighboring country that's really depicted as kind of dirt poor farmers. But they still hold out hope for, Superman's going to come save us. And, Superman didn't do anything wrong. And while they're in the Great Value Phantom Zone, Superman is locked up with Metamorpho, and Lex Luthor, in his crazy obsessive mind, decides to get a taxi driver and a 6-shooter and is playing Russian roulette with him, trying to get information out of Superman, but he kills him on the fucking second shot, which was the dumbest thing you could ever do. And so Metamorpho, having a change of heart after seeing Lex Luthor kill this man, is like, can you save my son? I don't care about anybody else, just save my son. And so he turns off his kryptonite hand and makes a impromptu sun with his Metamorpho elemental powers. Superman gets supercharged, uppercuts the guy holding his son, and saves the day. And then after that, Mr. Terrific and Lois Lane track Superman to where he was last seen. They see that, this is a militant camp that's kind of operated under Lex Luthor's banner. And then there's a fight that happens. And then as Mr. Terrific and Lois go exploring and trying to find Superman, Superman is trying to he frees Krypto. He's trying to escape. He's trying to just do whatever he can to possibly save as many lives as possible. And so once he escapes the Great Value Phantom Zone, he calls in a favor from the Justice Gang to help deal with the crisis in Boravia.
Yeah.
I was going to say Boravia. Yeah, we're just going to stick with Boravia. And then he's Superman, Mr. Terrific, and Krypto are now dealing with the engineer Ultraman, who is later to be revealed as a clone of Superman, and Lex Luthor's pocket dimension that he opened up, which is now splitting the Earth quite literally in half. And then after Superman beats his dumb, slow-witted clone, he goes to Lex Luthor and is like, you have such an issue with me. I have done nothing but try to show I too am human. I make mistakes. I love, I cry, I bleed. I'm not some monstrous god. I am just a regular person, just like everyone else. The only difference is I'm just gifted with powers from my home world, which is gone now, but I've been raised on Earth and I'm essentially an Earthling, which is kind of reminded me of the plot of Invincible, if I'm being honest. But, Lex Luthor and his obsession is like, no, I'm the greatest. Me. Every time somebody talks about me, they mention all these dead philosophers, Galileo, Socrates, Aristotle, and it makes me want to vomit bile. And I'm like, okay, you crazy asshole. And so then Clark tells Krypto to fuck Lex Luthor up, and he slams him around and beats him up like a dog would. And then Mr. Terrific hacks into his system and gives a really nice quip saying, I don't need your help. I'm terrific. And he's just doing his little hacking thing, and he saves the day. And then it ends with Lois and Superman sharing a very passionate kiss, telling each other that I love you and reciprocating each other's feelings. Metamorpho joins the Justice Gang because Nathan Fillion's like, this guy's cool. He likes the name Justice Gang, and he's all right with me. Oh, and then Hot Girl kills the dictator for Boravia by dropping him from like 150 feet in the air or some crap like that. I think that's the general gist of it.
Yeah. I realized, Jerry, that I picked you twice, and I'm sorry.
Oh. No, it's fine.
Tony, I'm sorry too. I didn't give you a chance to shine. But Jerry, I couldn't have done it better myself. So round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. If you guys don't mind, I want to jump into some stuff that really frustrated me a lot with it.
Okay, I have my problems too, but yeah, go ahead.
I hated how Hawk Girl, whenever she donned the helmet and she had her mace and her wings and everything, the majority of the time she was just screeching and screaming like a banshee. I thought that was very annoying. Not that the actress did a bad job, but I'm like, you couldn't give her some, like dialogue lines for the second time. Well, maybe the first time, or kind of in between all of that. Like it's literally like a harpy. She's just screaming, screaming, screaming.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but now that you mention it.
And then also the fight with Mr. Terrific and Lois when they were on the little camp on the way to the dimension portal.
I like that.
I love that fight. I just hated that cheesy ass music.
I thought that was fun. I liked that a lot.
It took so much away. I'm like, you could have done any other song. Like, why this one?
It was just a song that they were listening to, like while they're at the camp, and then like it just like been exemplified once he started like to fight them. I don't know. I thought that was fun.
I didn't mind it. I was like, I would prefer to change the song.
Yeah. I did not have a problem with that, but that's fair. It's not a great song. It was just a fun scene.
I know for me, it's not a major annoyance, but it definitely knocked it down some for me, was just how out of control Krypto was the whole time. And like I looked more into it, and James Gunn said that when he first rescued his dog Ozu, which he used 3D capturing to base Krypto off of, like Ozu was very scared of people, was very destructive, very hard to manage. I was like, okay, in the beginning, I could understand like that, like okay, that's cool, but kind of bring them in and kind of keep them under control and stuff. Because when he got freed from that holdings tank where he was chasing the flying squirrels and stuff, I was like, okay, obviously this dog would be kind of pissed off that he's just been held against his will. Like Krypto's obviously an intelligent dog, but why not just have him be kind of more than just the hyper playful dumb dog? Because for me, I was really excited to see Krypto. I was like, oh, we get to see Krypto. That's cool. And I was like, no, this is like, it's cool. I'm still glad we got Krypto, but I'm like, could you have gotten a more trained dog actor to do this?
Oh, instead of like a CGI character?
Yeah. Like that was one of the biggest ones for me because I'm watching this and I was just like, man, you can really see the James Gunn style comedy in, key scenes because you could see it coming from a mile away. Because, after watching Guardians, The Suicide Squad, and a couple of other older movies he's done, you can kind of see what formula he has.
Yeah.
What else? That was it for my major dislikes. What I really loved, it was the trailer did not really do the movie justice, and I'm so glad for that.
Because I tried to stop watching the trailers after a certain point. I was like, okay.
Yeah, the trailers really turned me off from the movie. And I was like, okay, this trailer is either just that bad or the movie's that bad. And I'm going to assume it's the former instead of the latter. Because me and my fiance went to go see it and we were like, this was a really good movie. The trailers just really did not do a good job of trying to promote what was the better aspects of it. Like everybody turning on Superman once the engineer had, recovered all of his message that his parents had sent home. I was like, okay, that's cool. You're getting into the mentality that Lex Luthor's been spreading around online that people don't like Superman. And then you see in the next couple of scenes, everybody's like, I used to be a big Superman fan until I found out he's here to fuck my wife and get her pregnant with his freaky genes. I hate Superman now. And then, as the movie progressed and whatnot, it turned out like, oh, this was all just a big lie that Lex Luthor perpetrated because he just could not stand the thought of somebody else being better than him. And then, as it was revealed, everybody was like, we owe Superman our deepest and most heartfelt apology. And then really, especially at the end, when everything was kind of said and done, and Superman turned to Lex Luthor and was like, "Why are you so obsessed with me? I've done nothing to you. I'm here to just make the world better. I have done no ill will. You just, you just can't stand that I'm better, and a negative way that you feel personally."
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what. Oh, go ahead, Josh. I'm trying to think of the next points I wanted to
Well,
hit.
I just wanted to say, my problems with the movie are definitely a little. Well, they're a little different than yours, but I don't want to get into the negative right now. I just want to say the positives that I like really much about this movie, and then I'll get into that stuff. I like the casting a lot. I think David Cornsweet is a great Superman. I think Rachel Brosnan, I don't even know how to say her last name, but she's a really great Lois Lane. She has the look. She's spunky. She's not like super girl boss Lois. It's just like that's who Lois Lane is. You know, it's not like in your face kind of thing. And like, I love their dynamic between their chemistry. Jimmy Olsen was great. I like the whole Daily Planet team setup, and I like how this movie just felt like a comic book, like kind of come to life. Like I liked how Crypto was in it, and I liked how like there's like a parallel universe, and they're like Superman has to basically mend that back together, and it's all this like fantastical stuff. Because like in past Superman movies, it's just like Superman versus Lex Luthor, which is great, but like it went too much further in depth with the comic book like mythology. Maybe they did a little bit with Superman 2 and like Zod and Man of Steel with Zod, but they never got to like the wacky,
essence.
whimsical stuff that's all about Superman. And I liked how this movie didn't take itself too seriously, and Superman has that direct connection, like saving civilians and saving the squirrel. I thought that was great. Like that was Superman, you know, and I the political tie-ins, like, yeah, Superman would do something in real life, so like whatever, Superman would do something, he would like intervene and help people, so I had no problem with that. But I don't want to keep talking too long. I want to hear Tony's thoughts.
Yeah, I really appreciated this movie a lot. I don't know. I don't think the beginning was weak. I think that it's better than having him crash land as a baby and then doing all the intro again.
So tired of it.
Yeah, I won't say it's weak, but I don't know how they could have done it better. But for some reason,
I have an idea.
Yeah, maybe Josh does, but I don't know. I'm very welcome to hearing it, but I could not get into the movie until like 20 minutes for some strange reason. But once I was in, I was like, hooked.
That's how I felt.
It was really weird. I think like the kaiju scene, or maybe a little earlier, got me hooked. That was a great fight. I think it was a great introduction to the Justice Gang, and I feel like I wasn't sold on him as a Superman and the character of Superman. I feel like they needed something else to like bring you in earlier. But I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was really good. I thought the political stuff was kind of a funny and interesting way to do it. And I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I liked that Superman was just like, oh, I'm just going to save people. I don't care about the politics of the political.
Right.
I'm like, people are going to die. I like that was like a debate.
About.
Yeah, I like that he had a debate with Lois about that. I thought that was interesting. I liked all of the characters. I thought I actually did like Krypto because it reminded me of my dog when she's being a little shit. Because he acts exactly like Krypto.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like positive. Superman was positive. Like Superman has not been positive in a really long time.
Yeah, which is like the whole essence of the character, and like that's what's been missing from the past decade of what Superman is. Like Superman's your neighbor. Superman's your friend. Like he's not just some grizzled asshole. That's Batman. Like they're trying to like I felt like the past like Snyderverse, they tried so hard to make Superman Batman, and that's not what Superman is. That's not the character.
Zack Snyder is a whole nother conversation.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of Snyder bots online. basically hating on this movie, which I felt like was the commentary with those like monkeys, those monkeys like putting those like hate texts about
straight out of The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's true. Yeah, exactly. But
And I do agree with
I
what
thought that was
Tony said
funny.
about this being positive, because it's not, anything to take away from Man of Steel. I did, and I do still enjoy the movie. But this was like, okay, we're finally back to what Superman is supposed to be, like the average everyday, not average every day, but he's supposed to be, like the role model for everyone. Like he's gonna always act for the greater good of the world, regardless of kind of what else comes after. Because, like we saw with Lex Luthor, he was orchestrating a whole line of things because he had been, this was more into the heart of when Superman and Clark Kent at the Daily Planet. He had all his fight moves cataloged. He knew what Superman would do before he did it. And, this is why I had to pull the cast. Nicholas Hoult, he played, in my opinion, a very great Lex Luthor. He did a great job showing, the crazed obsession, the high intelligence, the manipulative, cunning businessman, just the ruthless, unforgiving, sociopath that he's depicted as sometimes. And I really enjoyed all the scenes where it was just him giving, his monologues and whatnot, just kind of showcasing, like, yes, what you're saying might be true, but I'm still 2 steps ahead of you, and you don't know how far ahead my plan is. And like Josh, and not Josh, I'm sorry, Josh, like Tony said, in the beginning, I was on the fence about David Cornsweet, being Superman, just because I was like, I just don't, I was very unsure of him. I was, it was nothing against his acting ability, nothing against his ability to portray Superman. It was just, we just had Man of Steel 12 years ago, and the only Superman we've had thus far was in the Snyder universe, which was, gritty, dirty, just very dark. And like Josh said, that was never Superman. That's Batman's MO. And so I was like, I just don't know if I need another dark and gritty Superman. Because if I do, why not just give me back Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder and give me Man of Steel 2, 3, and 4? Because he probably would have tried to do it like that. You know what I mean? But this was it was very good to get back to basics. Like, Superman, we didn't get the introduction of him landing in Smallville. We didn't see him growing up. We didn't see the journey of him going through adolescence to young adult. We're smack dab in the middle of his career. Superman, he's got the Fortress of Solitude. He's got Krypto. His cousin's there. Like, we are in prime Superman career. And I was like, man, this is just really, really fun. Like, start to finish, it was a really great movie. And all of the interactions that were some of my favorite were between Superman and Metamorpho. Because, Metamorpho, in the beginning, I was like, I don't think Metamorpho is going to change. I think Superman's going to have to knock him out. Just because, he was very solemn and stoic, like, don't talk to me. And then you see him just up the strength of his kryptonite hand. He's like, shut up and don't talk to me. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. And I like the kryptonite, like, affected his body, too. It wasn't just like he fall down and he's weak.
Yeah,
like,
it was like a physical change.
Yeah, he was, like, dysmorphing and everything. Like, he looked disgusting. And I like that. I liked how he looked.
Yeah, that was good. It was so different from what I'm used to seeing portrayed, with like the kryptonite poisoning and just kryptonite in general.
No,
but
it's nice that he's like disfigured. Man. It definitely like adds to the agony that he would be going through. Yeah. So I want to kind of piggyback on what Tony said with the first 20 minutes. Like, I was thrown off too. Like, it took me a while to like warm up to these characters and like this version of Superman, because it felt like it was a sequel to a movie that wasn't made. And like, I think an introduction with like at least like him like meeting Lex or something I think they should have known each other before these events even happened. This is like Superman year 3, and Lex just meets him for the first time. I thought that was weird. I'm like, they would have met at like some Metropolis opening of the city or like some like event that was going
Some
on.
kind of press release.
Yeah, exactly. And Superman would have been there, and so would Lex, especially them both living in Metropolis. Like, no way. That was like their first time meeting. But like, I think what would have helped instead of the text was kind of lame. I think they should have shown his interaction with the Baravian army and like him defending it. Like, instead of like that being explained to us, like I think we should have seen that in that interaction of Superman like stopping that war and that fight. But also, I think since they're doing like a big reminiscence of the John Williams score and like the other Chris Reeve movies, like the score is like throughout the film, so like it's kind of hard not to think about those movies. Like, I think they should have done the opening where they had like Superman text like flying at the screen, and it should have just been a montage of like how Superman got to Earth, like just show the events like with the Superman score, dun, 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 all that, and then like showing how Krypto got there, and like just showing all those little bits and pieces, and then we go into the story. Like, all right, this is Superman, kind of like how the Brian Wilson movie was with like the Beach Boys. Like, they played Surfing USA, and then you see the Beach Boys, and then they did the montage, and then you dive into what the character is. I think that it definitely would have helped seeing that. Just like not even like delving into Krypton exploding. It's just like just like little glimpses. Like, all right, here's
just give like small snapshots of
exactly.
all the key events.
Exactly, the key events, and like Lois Lane discovering Superman. It could just be her taking his glasses off. Him arriving in Metropolis, and then her like discovering that. And you could definitely do that within the Superman score. Like, the Superman score is like 5 minutes long, so like you could have totally done that. I think that would have definitely helped the beginning, and like newcomers come in, because like say you don't really know who Krypto is. It's like, what the fuck? How did you get this dog? And like that would have been nice to know, like where the dog came from. Like, you see, it still doesn't answer like where the dog came from or where Supergirl comes from. You're just like, oh, they're here. You're kind of just like thrown into it.
And I agree with that, because that was something I thought was very weird. I was like, we're already jumping, pretty extensive into where Superman is, like I said, because Krypto's here, and then I forget, Supergirl's here, but it's like, well, when did they get here? It's like we're jumping into the middle. We don't have any context for when they came, how they came, what purpose they're serving to the story, so to speak. And I was like, I think how you said it best would be good. Like, just do a 5-minute fanfare, just quick snapshots, like land in Metropolis. He's found by the Kents. They found out he's an alien, so on and so forth. Like, just all the really major events.
Right.
And then I think for me, I would, like you said, I would have liked it if we could have gotten maybe like a little 2 or 3 minute flashback to Superman and Lex Luthor meeting in the same space, or Clark Kent and Lex Luthor in the same space.
Right.
Just something to give some, I guess,
history.
Give more meat and gravy, so to speak.
Because he even states in the movie, like, oh, Superman, twice in like the same week we meet, whatever. Yeah,
it's like, well, what the fuck does that mean to me?
So that's the first time they meet, and I feel like they would have a lot more history, especially like him being so envious and like him hating Superman. Like, he would hate Superman from the beginning, but I feel like they need that little bit of a relationship for him to go to this like drastic measurement of like sending him into like a parallel dimension prison, and this kind of thing.
I know I didn't talk about it much, but Nathan Fillion is Guy Gardner. Obviously, I'm a GL fan, and there was nobody I would have rather them pick to be Guy Gardner than Nathan Fillion. because to me, he really embodied that cocky asshole that Guy Gardner is. He's like, well, I really don't want to do anything with this guy because I means I'm going to have to, like he said, like, if we go, then we're going to have to kind of deal with what comes with the ramifications after. And he was using his GL Creed as an excuse to be like, I really don't want to do it. And here's just a little bogus reason as to why. And even, you know, when he saved the kid from the tanks and the soldiers, he literally just turned the ring on and was just, he waved his hand and you just see constructs just, you know, flipping the tanks over. He's using the middle finger to just knock them out and just so on and so forth with very little ease. So he has the, I mean, obviously he had the power to do it. He just chose not to. But it was just until he had a good reason to do it, he was not going to. Definitely, I want to give. I'm going to mispronounce his name, Eddie Gathegi, the guy who played Mr. Terrific.
Oh yeah, he was great.
He was fantastic.
He was so great. Yeah. He was my favorite out of the three. Out of
everyone, he definitely. I'm not gonna say he stole the show, but he definitely stole a lot of my big favorite parts from the movie. Because, you know, I loved him in X-Men Days of Futures Past and a couple of other projects I've seen him in. He's a phenomenal actor, and I hope James Gunn keeps him on for Mr. Terrific and other future endeavors. Because the one-line quips where they were perfectly timed. There was enough sass in there to be like, okay, that's kind of funny. And then also, like, even though I didn't like the music, but that's just, you know, my personal qualm. Like, he did a great job with all the tech stuff. He did great with the fight scenes. Like, he did an absolutely bang-em-up job as Mr. Terrific. And he was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah, I would agree. Mr. Terrific was terrific in the movie. He was great. He was so good. He was really funny. I liked him the best out of the Justice Gang for sure. My other problem with the movie, the harem thing threw me off. At least
I didn't really like that. You know, I don't have anything against Superman. I'm not a fan. I grew up, like I said, more of a GL fan. But I was like, no, that's not that would never be a thing. Like that's just James Gunn kind of putting in James Gunn style humor in random places.
Yeah, I thought that was a little odd. Like, I mean, like it set the plot elements up, like that people would hate Superman because this information was revealed, and I was like waiting, at least the first time I saw it, for Lex to like reveal that it was like a fake message, alter it, and that never happened. You know, so like.
I thought that was kind of inappropriate, personally.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird. I mean, like the second time it was a little less jarring because I knew what was coming up. Like, I think there would have been a way to have the public against Superman without like messing with the mythos in that way, or like, you know, like Superman's supposed to be the bridge of two peoples. You know, like that's like why he embraces the Kryptonian technology. I feel like after that, like he would just completely like be against the Fortress of Solitude at that point. Like it's all Kryptonian information at that point. I mean, I know like at the end of the movie he replaces it with memories of the Kents, but I feel like it should be both the teachings of the Kents and the Kryptonians to be like within that fortress anyway. But it just kind of like throws the mythos off, and I felt like Bradley Cooper as Jor-El like really like took me out of the movie. I was like, what the fuck? Why is Bradley Cooper Jor-El? Like that's super weird. I did not like that casting choice. I was like, why? It just like took me out of it. It could have been anybody else, you know. It was like too well known of like a star. Like even like if it was like a actor with like a little bit more gravitas, it would have sold it a little bit more, or like not even a known actor would have been better than Bradley Cooper. It just took me out of the movie. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I didn't even notice, to be honest. I don't know how.
I just let it kind of, you know, go over my head.
I was like, what the fuck? That totally took me out of it.
When you said the Kents, I was like, I forgot to say this in the beginning. I love how country as fucking cornbread
Yeah,
the
I
Kents
agree.
are.
I
Like
like
it
that too.
was so spot on because when you think of Kansas, like not saying that they did a bad job, but that was the best casting choice that they made because you can tell like that was really them trying to embody what it meant to be. You live out in the boonies. You're gonna talk funny. You're gonna have your own, kind of not qualms, but quips and just sayings about you. Like how when Martha had called Clark and she was like she did the old person thing, like she had the phone on the table and she got real close and was yelling.
Yeah.
And that was so funny. I thought that was the best part with the Kents in the beginning. And then, obviously after he comes back from the kryptonite poisoning and, they just still in the country accent, they're like, Clark, there's something on the picture box you might want to come see. Oh my goodness. They had the cows in the front yard. He was outside barefoot like a little country bumpkin. That was so good. Like that was such a just touching and heartwarming scene. I love that to absolute pieces.
Yeah, I like that. I like how they were cast. Tony, you good over there?
Oh yeah, no, I found something. I found a cable that I could just throw out. This is on my desk.
It's like you're rustling over there. I'm like,
my fault. I was just throwing something out.
No, I definitely agree with that. I like how they're like super authentic Kansas, like accents. Like they're definitely from the country for sure.
Out in the sticks where you still have the mom and pop grocery store and the nickel and penny gas station where they've got the mechanic shop.
The one little thing I really liked the first time I like watched it, I noticed it. Like one of Lex's minions, his name is Otis.
Yeah,
I was like, that's awesome. Well, if you don't know, Otis from is like Lex Luthor's like henchman in Superman the movie, and I liked how they had that little callback. And I think Eve, who's like Lex Luthor's girlfriend at the time, who's like interested in Jimmy Olsen, which I thought was a little weird, but it was funny enough.
Yeah, it was funny enough.
But like it was still odd. I'm like, I like Jimmy Olsen as like a complete geek, and like girls don't like him, but like it was fine. It kind of threw it
definitely
on
seeing the women of the night try to pick him up. I was like, yes, I could see that happening in the far future, but like the first time we see him, like the interns are like, "Oh my god, he's so hot." I'm like,
I thought that was a little odd.
I'm like, that's a weird thing to put in. Like, it wasn't bad or anything. I was like, okay, it's here,
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. It just threw me off.
I think it only works because he's just like also completely normal and has no interest and he is not a player. Like he's just like I think that's the only reason it works.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Because he's like so disgusted by like Eve when she's like saying like, "Oh, we got to hang out, or we're gonna hang out this weekend, right? If I give you this information," and he's like, "Oh man, I don't want to do this at all." Like if he was like all about it, then it would not be funny. But at least like
you can see the disdain in his face.
Yeah, exactly. And I think her last name is Eve Tessmacher, which is like Miss Tessmacher was Lex's girlfriend in it is Tessmacher. It's Lex's girlfriend in Superman the movie. So like there was a lot of tie-ins with Superman the movie. Obviously the John Williams score like reprised as like a guitar solo was like I liked hearing it again. I have like mixed feelings about it, but they also had a Will Reeve cameo. He was the news anchor, which is Will Reeve is Chris Reeve's son, so he's like the news anchor in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was the first person that was on screen, right? Like not screen, but like the screen in the movie.
I think so. He's like reporting the news at one point, which I think he is an anchor in real life. So I thought that was fun.
That's cool.
I like the John Williams theme. like used throughout it, like the John Williams score, but at the same time, it kind of took me out of the movie because I'm thinking about the Chris Reeve universe, you know. So it's like it's a great theme, it's amazing, but you know, it takes me a little bit out of it because at least with the Man of Steel, like they incorporated new music, like it was Hans Zimmer, which was a great soundtrack. It was probably like the best thing about the movie, to be honest, was like the score.
Yeah.
So I have mixed feelings about it. Like I like it, but at the same time, it just makes me think of Chris Reeve. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know what you guys think about it.
It,
Oh, you can go ahead, Tony.
I was just gonna say I've seen the first one and then what we watched of Richard Pryor. I haven't like I didn't like grow up on those movies, so I don't know. For me, it just felt like a nice like touch. Like it
Yeah.
didn't really like take me out. Like because I guess it didn't like break immersion for me, so it didn't bother me. But maybe it's just if I was more exposed to the movies, like I would feel it differently.
Right. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't mind how often they used it. I was definitely at a point I'm like, okay, I don't need to hear it as much as y'all have been using it. Like, give me a little break in between, like save it for the last big final confrontation.
Yeah.
But, that again, that's just like a little personal preference of mine because I'm not big on like hero themes being played for a lot of moments. I like it at the
specific
moments.
Yeah.
Like give it to me in the beginning, give it to me at the very end, and give it to me maybe 2 more times in between all of that, but nothing more.
Which is exactly how Superman the movie like played it out. Like they did it perfectly in that movie. And like I think if they're gonna take that theme in this movie, I think they should have taken other themes, Superman themes, and like incorporate it into a score so it's not just like a blatant not rip off, but like taken from Superman, the movie. Like if they had that and the Max Fleischer Superman theme with it, or like that, like throughout all eras, that the Adventures of Superman, that would have been fun, like the whole intro, like Superman the animated series, just like all eras, and then you kind of like meld them all together, and then it will create something new. I think that would be the way to do it if they're going to.
Yeah, I think that would have definitely been better.
Which I'm not against it. I love the theme. I think they just should have just kind of like incorporated that to make it new. Yeah,
I can agree with that. I know I've said a lot, so I'm gonna go ahead and just get into my final thoughts about it. This, like, for the first like new Superman movie, like new director, new direction,
new universe.
I enjoyed it a lot. It was a very good movie. I have my dislikes about it. If I had to give an honest opinion, there's things I would have taken, from Man of Steel that I liked and put it in here. And I would have taken out a bit more of the James Gunn style comedy from it, just because, I've gotten enough of that with Guardians of the Galaxy. I've got enough of that with the Suicide Squad. I don't need all of that in here anymore. Like, give me just a regular project. Yes, you can still make it funny, but, just kind of go as a new slate. Don't try to add in pieces, people like from your previous works that you kind of expect to kind of give people like, oh, like, yes, I know this is James Gunn because he's going to have some kind of sexual innuendo in here. Or, oh, I know this is going to be Zack Snyder because it's going to be real dark, gritty, and everything's going to be very kind of apocalyptic and so far as it's a very life or death type situation, if that makes sense. I'm going to give this a very solid 8. I would recommend everybody go see this. Definitely don't let because I know some people do have issues with how James Gunn directs certain parts of movies. Like, don't let that take away from it, because with how this project was shot, produced, and the direction he wanted to go, some things do fit perfectly. I'm not saying that I would take them out. I would just say I would change a little bit of it. This is definitely probably one of my favorite movies of the summer so far. I mean, I haven't been to the movies and seen anything new in a bit, but this has set a very good standard. And I'm very hopeful that James Gunn, I'm not going to say he's going to save the DC Entertainment Universe, but I think he's going to finally breathe some new life into where Zack Snyder kind of just fell off and was in his own headcanon of, I'm going to make stuff really dark and depressing, and I'm going to have every interaction be something that's life or death for the universe, and everybody has to be this gritty version of themselves that they never truly are in every story arc.
Yeah, I agree. Tony, what are your thoughts?
I thought it was very good, bar some like a few little things that I didn't really get into. There's like one thing I did want to mention. It didn't bother me, but like something that other people brought up, something that I noticed. Some of the scenes just like are straight up out of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
Really?
It's like okay. I mean, maybe not straight up. Maybe that's a
I know
little
what you mean,
exaggeration.
Tony.
But like the Mr. Terrific scene is played exactly like the Yondu scene with like the pen,
arrow.
the
Yeah.
arrow.
Yeah.
Not like, it's very similar. And then the scene, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great action scene, but it's just very like big similarities that like you notice them. They don't really bother me yet, but I could start to get bothered when I see it more. The scene where he tells Crypto to start like eating the drones or like attacking the drones. There's a scene in Guardians 3, I think, where they're fighting. They're in like a dogfight with like hundreds of drones.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and every time they shoot down a drone, there's someone at a desk that's like, "Oh, damn, I'm out. Like my drone got killed." And they did that exact same thing every time they didn't do a drone. The guy would be like, "Oh, I don't see anything anymore. I'm out. My drone."
I don't even remember that in Guardians 3. It's been a bit.
It was 2 or 3. It was something. It was the gold people. The people that were like painted gold.
I think that was the third one.
Yeah, that's the Kree people.
So yeah, it doesn't bother me yet, but I could start to be like, okay, the gun stuff is starting to be a little.
Like
he
a
likes
rip-off of himself.
Yeah,
he's plagiarizing his own work, as school teachers would say.
Yeah, and then that was about it for the downsides. I don't know. Other than that, it's got me back into DC, and I unplugged my headphones. I'm locked in. I'm caught up on the shows. I'm excited for the new movie, which is based on this book, which I picked up. It's very good.
Oh, that's cool.
I heavily recommend it.
I can check it out.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 9. So
wow.
I thought it was great. I don't know. I'm reading comics again because of it.
You guys are amazing. All right. Wait, is there any more, Tony? You got any more?
I had something else. I forgot it. It's probably not.
All right. Well, if it comes back to you, I'll give my thoughts. I really like this movie. I like how it gave Superman his character and hope back. Like it felt like hope was missing for like just a lot of cinema in general, and it just like made me like feel like a kid again. It was like, this is definitely the best Superman movie that came out of my lifetime. I really like the movie. I like David Cornsweet. He was really great as Superman. I love the whole ensemble cast. I love how the Daily Planet cast like exists again. Like Jimmy Olsen's in the movie, and that's like a big thing that was missing from the Snyderverse. Like that's a whole other can of worms I don't even want to get into. But I loved all that stuff. Like I said, the music was great. There was something else I wanted to mention too. Well, the second viewing, I liked it a little bit more because like it wasn't as jarring as the first viewing. I probably would give this a 7 out of 10. It was good. I liked it a lot. It wasn't like, I think if they added the montage in the beginning, I think it would have been elevated to an 8 for me. If they just like tweaked a little bit of different things, and like I feel like if Lex Luthor, they knew each other already, like those little character elements, I think it would have brought it up at least another point for me. But so far, I leave it at a 7. Very good movie.
I can agree with that. When I first watched it, I was like, this is kind of like a 7. Like, it's good and it's great. Don't get me wrong. But then I was thinking on what did I really like that stood out to me? And obviously, Mr. Terrific is a very big factor. Not saying, Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner didn't play a piece in that, because Green Lanterns really don't get a lot of love.
He's fun. Yeah, he was good in it.
He definitely I'm so sorry, I'm going to mispronounce his name again. But, Eddie, any role that he's in, I know he's going to make the movie at least 2 times better.
Right.
Because he takes his roles very seriously. He's a very performative actor. And, like how when Lois went to the Hall of Justice and, Mr. Terrific said, like, oh, I've got nanobot GPS trackers on everybody. It's not just him. And everybody was kind of just looking at their skin like, what? And he just said it so straight face and straight, just no emotion. And every time he went wrong, he was just like, God damn it, I am sick of it. It reminded me of Samuel L. Jackson on Snakes on a Plane. Enough is enough. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. I'm tired of always having to clean up shit from other people. And I could feel where he was coming from with it. But I do see where you're coming from with, in the beginning it was jarring because I definitely thought that myself. I was like, it's good, but there's a lot that I'm very much on the fence on.
Oh, what did you guys think about the reveal that Krypto was owned by Supergirl at the end of the movie?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's nothing against Supergirl's actress. She was there for all of 5 minutes.
Right.
I didn't like that. I don't mind that Krypto's her dog now. It's a pet.
I don't mind that either.
It's an animal. Yeah. I think that's fine. I think it's a welcome change personally. I do, however, hate that Supergirl is this teenage, college-aged party girl going out and getting fucked up across the intergalactic system under red suns. I thought that was kind of. Wait, what, Tony?
They pulled it from this.
They did pull it from that.
Yeah,
because my girlfriend Callie, she did not like that either. So I was curious how you feel the exact same way she did.
I was very turned off by it because I don't have anything against Supergirl. Like, I've read a few of her comics when they were free, like through the Google store and different stuff like that, and they were pretty good. But I was just like, I don't really like this portrayal. But now that I know they pulled it from her most recent comic, I still don't like it, but I like it a little bit less.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. I like how it at least explained Krypto's behavioral issues, and like Supergirl is a teenager, so teenagers party. So I was like, okay, this is a different take, but it was a different take. I wasn't mad at. I was more mad at the Kryptonian
harem.
The harem and kind of like that bad distaste of the House of L, basically.
I wanted to get into that. That's what I was thinking of that I forgot about. Well, the reason that bothered me, I didn't mind that they did it in the story, but the more I thought about it, is how is Supergirl does she know this? She never told him.
Right. That's what I thought too. That's what I thought, Mike. So what the fuck is Supergirl? Because now you introduce her to this universe, and in the comic books, they don't even explain that in this movie. That she grew up on Krypton and she was 16 when she left Krypton, But being a Joe Schmo going to the movies, you wouldn't have fucking know that. You go oh, there's just Supergirl. There she is,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, does she know about the harem? Is she fucked up like them?
Is she running a reverse harem? Right. Is she just getting a bunch of dudes?
So that's what I'm wondering, if they're going to retcon it in the sequel, Supergirl or whatever. It's they're going to get the real answer, or is it still going to be fucked up? I have no idea.
Yeah, because that's why I said it reminded me of Invincible in that aspect, because I was like, well, this is just Invincible. Oh, God. What are those people called?
I haven't seen the show.
Tony, please tell me you've seen the show.
Viltrumites?
Viltrumites. Thank you, Tony. You're a godsend. Yeah, the Viltrumites, they had this incurable disease that was knocking them out, so they just literally went across the universe spreading their seed and genes to kind of rebuild what they had lost. And I was like, so you're telling me James Gunn just binge watched 4 seasons of Invincible and was like, you know what, that Viltrumite idea of reproducing with everybody in the universe to rebuild their population, I like that. I'm going to steal that. That was something else. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. That's all I got.
I think James Gunn does like to pull inspiration from a lot of different things.
Oh,
apparently he took the characters of this movie, like the way Superman is and everyone from All-Star Superman, but the story is nothing like All-Star Superman. It's just
there's a lot of similarities, like the robots look a lot like All-Star Superman, which is a great comic book. I do recommend reading that. That's like one of the best Superman comic books. It's definitely worth it. The other thing I wanted to mention, James Gunn seems like he's better at writing like ensemble casts instead of like a singular character, so that's why like the Justice Gang is in this, and like it felt like James Gunn almost wanted to do more that movie, like the Justice Gang movie, than Superman. Like I feel like Superman, like I'm kind of hoping like James Gunn still has a hand in like the writing of the sequels, but I kind of want maybe a different director, like maybe he writes and produces, but like. There's a different director, so like it's more. I want the sequel to be more focused on Superman. Like I want more of like. I mean, it's cool to have the ensemble cast on top of it, but like, I want that like focal point. Yeah. Also, what the hell else? I just forgot my point. That's all I got. James Gunn, Superman. I don't know. It was good. Good movie.
We did it.
We did.
I literally had another point. I just lost it in mid thought. But anyway, Tony, I think it's your recommendation next.
Yeah, I kind of forgot before we started this episode, and then like halfway through, I remembered what I was picking. I hope you guys haven't seen this. I really do. It's called One Cut of the Dead.
I love that movie.
I heard.
Oh shit! I was hoping I could get you
I'm
with
kidding
twist.
so hard, Tony.
Oh hell yeah! Okay, it's great. It's something. It's a Korean zombie movie. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Definitely heard of this movie. I don't know much about it though.
What's it called, Tony?
One Cut of the Dead.
One Cut of the Dead.
Oh, it's Japanese. Sorry, I don't know why I thought it was Korean.
The Koreans make good movies too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the short, I'll have to find something.
Okay.
Related. I don't know.
That's fair. Well, if you don't want to be spoiled for One Cut of the Dead, make sure to watch that before our next episode.
Yes.
All right. This is Josh sending you off up and away until next BatYard's Finest episode.
So this is Tony.
Guiding you guys with Green Lantern's light, and we're becoming super pals one episode at a time.